Previously on the channel, I've used Tiermaker to rank the levels of John Romero and Sandy Peterson, and you all hated it. My opinions on some of those levels caught some viewers off guard, and I can tell that I wasn't well received for all the things I said about those outings. And I'm sorry for that. Well, kind of. That's part of the fun of these lists. Doom is an eternal debate, and it's nice that we can all have different views. But I figured since I'd done both of them too, I might as well round out the trilogy and bring American McGee's levels into the fold. Yes, American McGee made 10 levels for Doom 2 and Ultimate Doom, but only for the Die Flesh Consume portion of the original Doom. A lot of people call his work in Doom 2 the best of the bunch, so there's a lot of nice things and some critical things that I'm probably going to end up saying in this video. As always, let me know in the comments if I get these right in your opinion, or if I'm way wide of the mark. Whenever I talk about E4M1, Die Flesh Consumes Hell Beneath on the channel, I seem to split opinions a lot, and the truth is, I do really like a lot of this level. I like the look of it, I like the encounters within it, I like the fact that it gives you a rocket launcher pretty much at the start if you know what to do. I think that some of the encounters in this one are really clever, make great use of the limited space, and there's a lot of choke points where enemies can attack the player and they can make the player suffer. Unfortunately, the decision to remove the medkits on the ultra-violence incarnation of this level for me is just too much. I'm not a fan of cheap difficulty spikes, and unfortunately taking out all those medkits and then throwing a bunch of barons into the level just ruins it for me. And yes, I'm fully aware that there's only one Baron of Hell that's truly necessary to complete this one, but the simple fact is that it's a bit overkill. I understand that there are some health bonuses dotted around, but they don't really help. And unfortunately for me, I always find myself really grinding my teeth as I'm trying to play through this one. It's just not a fun outing when you're not able to use all the resources in the game. And for me, artificially lowering the difficulty in that way, it just feels cheap and it takes away from this level in my opinion. So for me, I haven't got a problem with Hell Beneath. Unfortunately though, I think that I'm going to put this slap bang in the middle. I don't think it's bad enough to go into C or D tier for me, but unfortunately, as I say, that one caveat completely drags it down, probably from the S tier, because outside of that, I really like this as an opening level. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Unruly Evil is one of the most unremarkable Doom levels that you can play. In Die Flesh Consumed, it takes up a level slot that in my opinion a better level could have easily been thrown together, and finding American McGee's name attached to this just makes it all the more disappointing considering the high bar of quality that he has across the board. For me, this level is completely unremarkable. It's fine for what it is, but as part of Die Flesh Consumed, it gets lost in the mix very quickly, and personally speaking, I just don't have anything positive to really say about it. Most of the times I'm playing through this one, I'll be rushing as quickly as I can to get through it because, in my opinion, it's just not that interesting. So for E4M4, I think I'm going to be putting this into the D tier, not because I think it's a terrible level, because it's so unremarkable and it's so bland and passe. I just don't think it really brings that much to the table, and I think it's definitely one of American McGee's weaker outings. So the thing with Underhalls for me is that this could easily have gone into the first level slot, and I think it would have been super well received. The fact for me is that this is a very tightly designed, very interesting looking level. It doesn't feel like anything you would have seen in Doom 1. The use of textures, the use of shadows, and the use of lighting really helps elevate this one. It makes it feel like you're climbing through sewers, and then when you kind of step outside and you see that building, I assume it's supposed to be a house of some kind, it's really, really interesting. I love the circular design, I love the fact that there's so many optional areas that the player can wander into if they're paying attention. You can get yourself a super shotgun, which definitely helps the enjoyment of this level, even if I think it's a bit overkill. In my opinion, I think that this level delivers the goods across the board. Plenty of fun encounters, even if I think that some of the areas towards the end of a level are a tiny bit cheap, having to drop into those monster pits that are darkened. But again, atmosphere. American McGee nails it with this one in my opinion, and this one is going... do I want to put it in S tier or A tier? You know what? I'm going to put it into the high A tier, but I may come back and put this higher later on. So for me, the Gantlet is a bit of a weird one. I don't really like it. I sort of play through it whenever I get to it. It's the third map in Doom 2, so especially after Underhalls, I feel like it's a bit of a step down. Now, I know a lot of people like this one, but for me, this one is very kind of pedestrian, middle of the road. The chain gunners get introduced on this one, but I just don't find myself that interested by it. Personally speaking, I just want to get through this one as quickly as I can. And even though it's got some really fun secret areas, and they did add in some secrets in the updates after the release, I don't think it's enough to really elevate this level, in my opinion. It's kind of bland looking. It doesn't really have that kind of exciting look to it that some other Doom 2 levels have, and I think that there's just not enough variety in texture usage here. There's a lot of things that kind of drag this one down a bit for me, but I will say it's not a terrible level, and I think if I put it in D tier, that's really doing it a disservice, so I'm going to put this one in high C tier for me. I appreciate the focus for what it is. It's a very small, bite-sized chunk of Doom 2 action, lots of hit scanners, lots of darkened locations. American McGee really loves to play with lighting in his levels, a lot more than I feel Sandy Peterson and John Romero tried to in Doom 2. His levels feel like the most expressive in terms of making use of that. Unfortunately for me, I feel that there are moments in this one where it feels a bit too cheap. I think that the difficulty of this one comes largely on ultraviolence from those hit scanners, the shotgunners that stand right outside the entrance. And I think that while it's got an interesting look, and I do like the layout of this one, it's very suited for multiplayer experiences, I do feel that it's a bit too short in my liking, and I'm not a fan of some of the encounters. In particular, once you get through the red door, I feel that the area with the chain gunners a bit cheap, and the fact that you've got like enemies down beneath you and they come out to attack you, and then you've got chain gunners up above. Like I said, bit cheap for my liking, but I do appreciate what this level is shooting for. It's more about the action and the intensity of it rather than trying to deliver a super long experience. So for me, I think this is personally better than Hell Beneath. Just in terms of design, I think the design here is a bit tighter. So I'm going to put this one above Hell Beneath. I'm going to put it at the top of the B tier. But I do like this one, just not enough to put it in A tier. Funnily enough, the waste tunnels is actually the opposite to the focus. I think this level is a bit too big. I think it's a bit too meandering. I don't really like the non-linear directions that the game tries to throw in your direction. I feel that the trap with the door, I'm glad that was removed in one of the updates so that you can actually get back in towards the starting area of the level. I do feel that this one's kind of a boring one. It never leaves that much of an impression on me. When I'm playing through it, I always kind of find myself a bit bored. Maybe it's because it's another sewer outing. This one clearly has a sewer, but I feel that the second level does a lot better with this in Doom 2, and so this level kind of just feels like lesser of the same, and unfortunately none of the encounters really do it for me. So this one, I think, it's not bad enough to go in D tier though. And the thing as well, and I will say, I do kind of like that you can explore lots of this level without needing all the keys. That's something that I really appreciate in Doom levels, and this level really gives you that chance. So I'm gonna put it in C tier, but you know, on a good day it could maybe go into the bottom of B tier, and on a bad day it could definitely end up in D tier. I know the Crusher kind of splits opinions within the Doom community, but in my opinion, I like this gimmick level. I get that some people don't. I get that some people find the Crusher is a bit sort of bland, the Spider Mastermind is a bit ineffective, and I get that a lot of the rest of this level, it doesn't really come together in one of the most memorable ways. But I have to say, the overall package here, that opening room with all the pillars, you descending down that lift and seeing the Spider Mastermind in the Crusher, all those imps shooting down from the cages, I think that's all really great. And I also love that final room where you get ambushed by all the enemies from the center. I do think the room with the red key is a bit weird. It's a kind of weird space. I don't really kind of understand what's going on there, and it feels a bit weird with the monster closets stuffed with revenants and chain gunners. Again, it feels a bit weird, but then when you kind of look at the development of this level through the beta files and into the final game, you can kind of see that this one underwent a lot of changes, and I can understand why, because the original version of this was much worse in my opinion, so I'm kind of glad they changed it. For me, this is one of the more memorable outings in early Doom 2, so I'm going to put it in the A tier. Good times, good fun, but definitely at the bottom of A tier, I think. Who doesn't like Dead Simple? I mean, there probably is someone out there who doesn't like Dead Simple, but it gets to the point very quickly. It's a very fast and furious piece of Doom 2 action, introducing new enemies, introducing the new mechanics of like the walls coming down when you kill them. I like how simple this level is. It would have been so easy for them to overcook this one and add in things that didn't really need to be added. I love the fact that this is designed so simply. I get that a lot of people probably wanted a bit more complexity, but for me, it's iconic, and there's a reason that so many Doom levels in the years after Doom 2's release mimic this level so closely. It's pretty iconic in my opinion, and very rarely beaten, even in modern Doom games, in terms of sheer simple Doom level design. So in my opinion, you can't beat a classic, so why bother? It's going into the S tier for me. So I'm old enough to remember when the Inmost dens was kind of held up as probably one of the best Doom levels in any of the retail Doom games. There was a time in the 1990s and early 2000s where versions of this level would spring up in all kinds of WODs, and I have to say, I think the design is very well executed. I will say, I don't think it fits into the theming of Doom's downtown area. You could probably change the skybox on this one and it would look like it fits into Hell or fits into the first episode. I think that's a weakness, and I think that had McGee taken a bit more time to kind of put this into that downtown area, I think a lot more people would be happy to say that this is one of the best downtown levels. Unfortunately, the decision to not do that kind of makes this one feel a bit out of place between downtown and industrial zone, but here nor there. Great level design, really fun encounters, and McGee makes great use of varied space sizes. There's some great open encounters, especially with the Archvile and all the enemies around him, and all the enemies who are kind of in the cages and shooting through the windows. But then you've also got the tight encounters where you kind of have to take out all the enemies as you're making your way around the narrow passageways going towards the exit. Again, this level's very open. It's very fun to explore this one out of order, to help yourself to get better weapons and to arm yourself. So for me, I think this is a very strong outing. It definitely deserves that reputation. I will say, I don't find it as fun as some of the levels we've already talked about. I think Underhalls gets more of a exciting feeling out of me, and I think that Dead Simple is just the king of excitement in Doom 2. So I'm going to put this one at the top of A tier, and I don't think anything's going to dethrone it from that spot. I think the Catacombs is a really fun level. It's another example of McGee making clever use of spaces and introducing a lot of varied height to keep things interesting. The second that you enter that central area with the sort of stone area in the center with all the enemies around shooting onto you, I think it just feels very relentless, it feels very action-packed, and every time you sort of step into that central area, it feels dangerous because it feels like anything could happen. Now, I do think that if you show up here with all your weapons, it makes this level a lot easier, but pistol starting this one on Ultraviolence, it can be a bit of a challenge, and I do appreciate that. There's a lot of fun moments in this one, and I think that the Baron encounter towards the level's end is actually really well done, because it kind of puts the player on the back foot for a second, and if they panic they can really cause themselves a lot of damage. Fun spaces in this one, really interesting level design, and I think it's very tight. Unlike a lot of Doom 2 levels around it, I think McGee really knows how to sort of refine what they're doing down to the point where it doesn't feel like space is being wasted. A lot of the space in this level feels like it's got a purpose and it's there for a reason, and I appreciate that. So for this, I think I'm going to put this just beneath the Inmost end. It's another fabulous outing for me, and I think that it more than deserves to go into the middle of my A tier. I think I'm mostly happy with these choices, but there's one or two I want to move. I think the Inmost End should probably go up to the S tier. I think it's a timeless level design and it deserves S tier because it is among the best levels in Doom 2. Underhalls is actually my other shout for the S tier, but I think it's worthy more of being at the top of A tier. I think that the S tier levels, they're just kind of special, whereas I think Underhalls is just very, very competent. Now that I've ranked all these levels, let me know what you think. I anticipate many people in the comments are going to be telling me how I got this wrong and how I put the wrong levels in the wrong tiers, so let me know what you think. Which levels would you put in which tiers? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.